The scene opens with the roaring sound of a private jet cutting through the dark Texas sky. Heavy music plays in the background as the aircraft slowly lands on a lonely airstrip in the middle of oil country. The wind blows dust across the runway, while a sharply dressed corporate attorney steps down from the plane with a cold, confident expression on her face. Rebecca looked around carefully. Everything about this place felt rough, dangerous, and completely different from the polished corporate offices she was used to. A luxury black sedan waited nearby with its engine running. The driver smiled politely. "Ma'am, your rental car is ready. Your office arranged everything." Rebecca glanced at the expensive car, then frowned. Seriously? This thing looks like it belongs to a billionaire politician. I asked for something simple. The driver looked confused. "Your office specifically requested a luxury sedan." Rebecca sighed in frustration. "I need something that doesn't scream rich lawyer from Houston. Something normal." The driver laughed lightly. "Trust me, ma'am. Around Midland, this barely stands out." Rebecca shook her head and grabbed her bag before driving toward the small town where she was supposed to meet Tommy Norris, a legendary oil field operator known for his temper, experience, and complete lack of patience for corporate lawyers. As she entered the local bar, country music echoed through the smoky room. Workers in dusty boots filled every table. Everyone looked tough enough to survive a war. Rebecca approached the bartender. "I'm looking for Tommy Norris." The bartender nodded toward the corner. Cowboy hat, sitting alone.
Rebecca turned and instantly spotted him. Tommy looked exactly like the stories she'd heard. Weathered face, rough hands, and eyes that looked like they'd seen too many explosions and funerals. She walked over confidently. "Tommy Norris?" Tommy slowly looked up at her and smirked. "Well, it wasn't hard figuring out who you were." Rebecca sat down across from him. "You want a drink?" Tommy asked. "Club soda." Tommy raised an eyebrow. "You know that's non-alcoholic, right?" Rebecca stared at him without blinking. "And you probably wonder why nobody tips you." Tommy laughed loudly. "Oh, this is gonna be fun." The tension between them was immediate. Every sentence felt like a fight waiting to happen. Tommy leaned back. "So, first day in the oil fields. What do you think?" Rebecca looked around the dirty bar. "Honestly, it's exactly as offensive as I imagined." Tommy chuckled darkly. "You corporate people think we're monsters, but the sharks you work with wear suits and smile while destroying lives." Rebecca crossed her arms. "And you think acting like this makes you better?" Before Tommy could answer, his expression suddenly changed. For a brief second, pain crossed his face. "I lost 3 friends today," he muttered quietly. "And a finger." Rebecca's attitude softened slightly. "I didn't know they were your friends." They were. For the first time, silence filled the table. But Tommy quickly returned to his usual sarcastic self. "So, how old are you anyway? 25? Rebecca scoffed. "Let me get this straight. First you insult my gender, now my age?" Tommy grinned. "How's it an insult? Scientists are probably trying to figure out how to keep people your age forever." Rebecca rolled her eyes. "You oil men really never stop talking, do you?" Tommy smirked. "Not when we're right." The next morning, Tommy took Rebecca deep into the oil fields to inspect the site of a deadly explosion. Endless dirt roads stretched across the desert, while giant pump jacks slowly moved like metal monsters feeding from the earth. Rebecca struggled to walk through the rough terrain in her expensive boots. Suddenly, rattle, rattle, rattle. Rebecca froze. "Oh my God, Tommy!" A massive rattlesnake sat only inches away from her boot. Tommy didn't panic. "Does it have rattles on its tail?" Rebecca nearly screamed. "Yes, a lot of them!" "Well, then don't touch it." Rebecca looked horrified. "What do I do?" Tommy shrugged casually. Walking away would be a fantastic start. But Rebecca stood frozen in fear while the snake slowly moved closer. Tommy sighed. You're really gonna stand there and let it bite you? Within seconds, Tommy grabbed a tool from the truck and killed the snake before it could attack. Rebecca stared at the dead snake while breathing heavily. You didn't have to kill it.
Tommy wiped sweat from his forehead.
I didn't have to until you challenged it to a staring contest. Even Rebecca couldn't help laughing a little.
As they walked back toward the truck, their conversation slowly shifted from sarcastic insults to serious business. Rebecca started questioning Tommy about the deadly oil rig explosion that killed several workers. Tommy explained everything carefully. The lawsuits, the investigations, the stolen aircraft, the accusations, and the insurance companies trying to avoid massive payouts. Soon, the story moved into a brutal legal war. Inside a packed deposition room, lawyers attacked each other with threats, accusations, and manipulation. Rebecca completely transformed. The quiet young attorney suddenly became terrifyingly sharp. One arrogant lawyer mocked her age and experience. Rebecca leaned forward calmly. You think they hired me because I'm pretty? The entire room went silent. I charge $900 an hour, she continued coldly, and you're very close to finding out why. Nobody spoke. Even Tommy looked impressed. Rebecca completely destroyed the opposing lawyers one by one. She threatened lawsuits, public scandals, defamation claims, and media exposure until the entire room collapsed under pressure. This isn't negotiation anymore, she said confidently. This is surrender. Tommy couldn't stop smiling. For the first time, he realized she wasn't just another corporate attorney. She was dangerous. Later, Tommy drove Rebecca deeper into the oil fields at sunset. Endless machines pumped oil from beneath the ground, while flames burned in the distance like giant torches. Rebecca looked disturbed. You really believe this industry is worth all this destruction? Tommy stared across the desert. Look around you. The world runs on this. Rebecca shook her head. I think half of this should probably be illegal. Tommy laughed softly. Then you should have become a politician instead of working for an oil company. As they continued driving, Tommy explained how modern drilling worked. Shale extraction, horizontal drilling, fracking, billion-dollar leases, and the enormous risks involved. Every well costs millions, Tommy explained. If the first few fail, the company dies. Rebecca listened carefully. For the first time, she understood that this wasn't just business. This was survival. Tommy looked at the giant oil fields stretching endlessly into the horizon. Our grandparents built the modern world using this stuff, he said quietly. Cars, planes, electricity, factories, everything runs because of oil. Rebecca stared silently out the window. Tommy continued. And until the world finds something better, somebody has to keep feeding the machine. The screen slowly fades to black while emotional music plays in the background. And that's where things start getting even crazier, because this explosion was not an accident. Secrets are about to come out. Friendship